I finally watched Send Help, and we need to talk about this movie. Welcome back, everyone. We're here to talk about Send Help, a film that is directed by Sam Raimi. It stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. So, what is Send Help, and why is everyone talking about it? And why did it take me this long to see it? I saw the trailer for Send Help and I was immediately intrigued by it, and I thought that could either be good or it could be bad. And I saw that it was Sam Raimi directing, which made me think more towards the good side than the bad side. However, I was also thinking it's possible that it might not be great. After all, Sam Raimi hasn't had the best track record lately. I mean, the last Sam Raimi directed film I saw was Multiverse of Madness. There were a lot of people that were just really not here for it, and I too took some issues with that film. So I was a little nervous going into this. However, to all of the friends who said to me, and to all of the lovely folks in my community who encouraged me to go see this film, thank you. Because it's probably my favorite film of the year. What is it about? It's about a woman named Linda Little who works for a company and who is kind of swept under the rug for being just kind of annoying and weird. However, she's very, very good at her job. Now, when the owner of the company dies and it's passed on to his son, who is Bradley, who's played by Dylan O'Brien, and Linda is played by Rachel McAdams, Bradley has his own ideas for where he wants the company to go and doesn't like Linda very much. So he decides he is going to pivot and offer a promotion that was supposed to be Linda's to someone else at the company. Not just anyone else, someone that Linda has actually been doing the work for. And they're going to go to an event that is happening where they're going to have Linda basically do their work for them so that when they go and they make their presentation, everything looks great. But then after that, they're going to ship Linda off somewhere. So they all go on this plane. Of course, as you've seen in the trailer, the plane crashes and the only survivors are Linda and Bradley. Now they have to survive on this island together, and Linda has a lot of skills that Bradley does not. Ultimately, this film is a film about survival. It's about the shifting of power dynamics, how power corrupts people, and it's about characters. It's about very well thought out, kind of unrealistically crazy, and yet somehow grounded very much in reality characters. So it's a character piece on both Bradley's character and Linda's character, and then kind of how their relationship changes and shifts over time due to power dynamics. It has a lot to say about a lot of things. I think it also has a lot to say about nurture versus nature shapes all of us, and how much of who you become is your choice as well. And while I think there are circumstances for both of these characters that ultimately shape them into who they are, at the end of the day, what the film wants you to take away is that you kind of are the one that saves yourself. You are the one that has the power to change yourself. No one can change you. And I think that is a major theme here. Thematically, I took a lot from this film. I honestly think that this film says so many things and weirdly parallels themes of another film I saw recently, or at least the book that film is based off of, Wuthering Heights, but does a much better job at examining the nuance of a lot of those themes in a more modern setting. And that was weird to me. So I don't know if it's also just because I recently watched that and read the book for Wuthering Heights that I'm thinking about these things, but I do think that there is just a lot of strong themes in the film. The film also does something that I really appreciate, which is at the end of the movie, it doesn't try to save the day. It doesn't leave us with some kind of moral redemption or anything like that. It just lets the story be what it is, lets it say something about the world, and doesn't feel that it needs to find a moral high ground. It doesn't judge in that way. And I actually think that's the type of art that I like the best, where it's kind of up to the audience to decide how they want to apply what they learned in the film to the world around them and to their own life. By the way, the fact that Rachel McAdams doesn't have an Oscar yet, I think is a travesty. Rachel McAdams as Linda gets to play so many different characters almost in this film because Linda is such an interesting and deep character, and she just fully commits to every moment of the film. And that is something that I love about Rachel McAdams. She can really be anyone. She is truly, I think, a chameleon actress, and I think that she is greatly underrated, and we need to give her more to do than just play love interests all the time, because that's typically what she gets, but there's so much more to her, and every time I get to see her do anything other than just being a love interest, I'm always floored by how good she is. Dylan O'Brien was not on my radar, but he is now. Him playing Bradley, he brought so much nuance to a character who on paper could just come across as being like flaky, a jerk. He's very easy to kind of put in one box, but I think as you go through the story, there is quite a bit of complexity to Bradley, and Dylan O'Brien's subtlety in terms of the performance that he delivers, just the moments in between dialogue, the way his face moves, what's happening behind his eyes. There are a lot of times that I question how well I know this character and what he's really thinking. And while this is a film that has some cool twists that I won't spoil for you in this review, that I did kind of see them all coming, that's not really that the film didn't do a good job. That's more just, I think that I consume a lot of stories, watch a lot of films, and there are elements of this film that call back to stories that I'm very familiar with. So I kind of knew where it was going, but what I never really knew was what these characters were exactly thinking. The acting is so good, they're always making you wonder if what you think is real. There's a lot of moments in this film actually where I questioned what was real and what wasn't real, what was reality here. And it plays with kind of the gaps in what we see in terms of the story. And it also plays with the perspectives of our characters and how them being marooned may also legitimately affect their sanity, which I think is cool. I have to say, I'm really mad at Sam Raimi because of this movie, though. I do have a problem with it. And that is, I got jump scared in this film. And I'm usually very prepared to be jump scared when I watch anything that Sam Raimi is involved with because I know the man loves a good jump scare. I'm a big Evil Dead fan, so I'm always prepared for that. But they did it at a moment where I was so invested in what was going on and was questioning what was real and what wasn't real that I just wasn't expecting it at all. And it was absolutely delightful. So curse you, Sam Raimi, for the jump scare, but also thank you for the jump scare. This film has a lot of horrific things happening and a lot of gruesome things. And if you are not familiar with Sam Raimi, prepare to be grossed out because there's a lot of gross stuff that happens. Some stuff was so gross, there was one moment I actually had to look away because it was just too gross for me. The film goes there, and I love it for that, to be honest with you. And I think that the special effects are very well done. I think the makeup in this film is very well done. And I don't know if anyone's going to be talking about that, but we should be because there's a lot of different states that these characters are in. And even just watching Linda become more in her element as someone who is a big fan of Survivor, that's an element of her character that you get to know over time. And watching her as she becomes this Survivor girl on the island, watching her have like a glow up moment in nature, I thought was really great. The music in this film is really good, and you're going to notice that pretty early on if you're someone that really loves good music in film. Danny Elfman did the score, and it just beautifully matches everything that's going on in the film. And then the special effects is so good, the acting is so good, the script is so good. It's just all of these elements coming together to make this film perfect, really. I don't really have any notes other than the fact that I was jump scared and I was upset at myself for letting that happen. I really don't have any notes. And I think the other thing that I love about this film is that there are moments that are so gruesome, and yet because it is a film that doesn't get too attached to the tone, there are horrific things happening that really are beautifully blended with the comedy. So horror comedy is a genre that fits, but it is not a genre that needs to define what the film is, because the film is whatever it needs to be for the story. And that is something that I ultimately will always appreciate about Sam Raimi, even if there are different levels of success that he has doing that with his stories. And I think that's what makes great directors really stand out. They aren't afraid to challenge the boundaries of filmmaking in order to make something that is just good. So overall, I'm not really doing ratings usually, but I gotta say this is a 5 out of 5 for me. So I'm just saying this here because I want to make sure that as many people see this review will actually go see this film. So if you're on the fence, please go see Send Help. You will not regret it. This film is an experience that I think everyone needs to have. I literally left the theater and it felt like I had just watched Evil Dead for the first time. I felt so inspired, and there's so many little details in there that I think when I go back and watch it a second time, there's going to be even more that I'm going to pull from the film. So great job, everyone. I also loved the way this was shot. I just thought it's absolutely amazing. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching this review. I'll see you in the next one. And until next time, friends, stay nerdy. Bye. And if you love hearing me talk about things that Sam Raimi's involved in, you should check this out. He didn't direct it, but it's very good.